Hello, everyone, and welcome to the now third episode of Freedom Underground. My name is James Weeks II. Today on the show, we're going to be continuing the discussion from last week's show, highlighting some abuses of police power, as well as going over some ways that the government is interfering with the free market, and also be going over one thing of halfway decent news. Start off with that, start on a good note. This is not that recently. This is from about a year ago, though, but I just found out about this, about a United States Courts of Appeal case in the Second Circuit, where they ruled that the ancient gesture of insult is not the basis for a reasonable suspicion of a traffic violation or impending criminal activity. Basically, what that ruling was about was a couple was driving down the road, and one of them stuck his hand out the window and flipped off the cop. The cop ended up pulling him over and charging him with disorderly conduct. According to the cop, Richard Ignosa, that he believed that they were trying, he said his excuse for pulling him over was that they were trying to get his attention for some reason. I do not buy that one bit. Neither did the Court of Appeals, and they ruled that we have a constitutional right to flip off police officers. So, next time you're driving down the road and you see a cop, don't be afraid to flip them off, and if they say anything about it, let them know about the U.S. Court of Appeals Second Circuit ruling in the the Swartz v. Insagnia case, I believe is what it is. So that's some good news there. Now here's let's get to the next story here. There's in New Jersey, there was a dad who was threatened to take his son away after his son was twirling a pencil at school. A 13-year-old boy was at school. His name's Ethan Chaplin, and apparently he was twirling a pencil. Let's see, I thought I brought a pencil out here to twirl, but no. Apparently, twirling a pencil is imitating a firearm now, and the kid had gotten suspended. The school officials ended up backing off, and the superintendent had said that she was confident that the issue would be behind them. But then the father ended up receiving a letter in the mail from the New Jersey's Department of Child Protection and Permanency and Development of Children. Jesus Christ, that's a long ass. Can't they just name the fucking agency something a little bit shorter than that, for fuck's sake? All right, well, apparently he received a letter saying that they found an incident of abuse or neglect regarding Ethan, because during this whole incident he didn't take him in for a psychological evaluation. So in order to clear his name, Michael, who's Ethan's father, agreed to take his son in for an evaluation. Ethan was seen by a social worker, had blood and urine taken, but in the end, no behavior problem was found. Ignoring this evaluation, the state decided that they wanted even more further evaluation, and threatening that if Michael did not comply, they were going to terminate his parental rights and free Ethan up for adoption. So, just the state of New Jersey is wanting to take this guy's kid away because the kid was twirling a pencil, something we've all done in our youth. I mean, even today, every once in a while, if I have a pencil, I'll twirl the pencil in my fingers. But apparently that is some sort of representation of a firearm, which means that the New Jersey can just take your kid away because he twirled a pencil. This is just the bullshit that the state puts us through all the time. They're always doing stupid stuff like this, trying to take this guy's son away because he twirled a pencil. That is absolutely asinine. Now, here's another story coming out of California in Half Moon Bay. What happened was a family, they called for help because their teenage daughter with special needs, this was on June 3rd, the Serrano family, they were having their young female family member who suffered from mental illness and depression, Yenaria Serrano Garcia, who was 18 at the time. Apparently she had gone off her medication and she was acting out. During past episodes, they say that the Serrano family had called medical personnel to help. This time when they called, police officers ended up showing up. And sadly, when the cops got to the house at 9:23 p.m., within 20 seconds of arriving, the police officer, or the sheriff, Deputy Men Tiru, decided that his life was in danger and opened fire on this young lady, killing her. He said he feared for his life because she was wielding a knife, which happened to be a butter knife. So she's wielding a butter knife. And this police officer said he feared for his life from a butter knife. This reminds me of what happened with a guy up in Saginaw, where he had one of them plastic bagel knives, and the police decided to shoot him. They always do this kind of shit. But she, this gal, she has special needs, and the police officers really reacted poorly to the situation here. Within 20 seconds of arriving on the scene, they decided to escalate the situation from a girl having a bad day to them murdering her. 20 seconds it took them to decide that they were going to end this young girl's life. Family members said about this incident, who are we supposed to call now when we need help, when who is supposed to help us is killing our kids? That's the kind of situation that we have here. If you'd like to call the San Mateo County Sheriff's Department and let them know what you think about their officers deciding to end this young woman's life after a 20-second investigation because she had a butter knife in her hand, their phone number is 650-363-4911. I'll put that phone number in the show notes for you guys. But again, that number is 650-363-4911. Our next story here, we got a cop seizes dad's firearms license and hunting rifle after a spat with a school principal over a son's drawing. So they say, a lot of the people are like, they're not trying to take your guns, but here's an instance where they take this guy's guns because his son drew a picture at school. And so Robert Godwin, he was engaged in a discussion with his son's elementary school picture because of a drawing that his son did in art class, which was a drawing of Gru from the children's movie Despicable Me, which depicted a character shooting ping pong balls at his minions. Apparently the school said that they didn't even say it was a firearm nature. The school deemed it sexual in nature. And so apparently the dad thought a visual aid would help, and he showed them his firearms license, which I'm not quite sure why he did that. So he was comparing his legally owned firearms license to the picture his son drew, and apparently the principal felt threatened. He said he was not attempting to threaten her in any way. He was just trying to give her a visual aid. And so he was banned from the campus over this incident for the rest of the year. And then after this incident, police showed up at the Godwin residence and revoked his firearm license and removed his hunting rifle, although he had not been charged with any crime at all. He did not have any due process in this incident at all. The police just showed up, took his gun. Godwin said the school was treating him unfairly. He was no threat or danger to anyone. He said, "It's sad because I think we have to transfer to another school." And he's worried about his son because his son isn't going to be able to hang out with his friends now. But there's just an incident of a giant government overstep, just coming out and taking this guy's guns away from him because of a drawing that his kid drew. I mean, this is just, back when I was growing up, going through school, I drew pictures of guns all the time. I would have never, ever thought that this kind of stuff would be what we'd see in our society today. It's really gone with these anti-gun people, like, ridiculously far. And what's really funny about the story is that it wasn't even because he was shooting, ping pong balls at this Minions or whatever in the drawing. They said that was sexual. Now that's what I'm finding really fucked up about this, is that how a drawing of a cartoon character is sexual. But that's the public school system for me. Now here's something that is something we all got to watch out for, and apparently the Obama administration is telling police officers not to tell us about what they're doing with this new technology. The Obama administration is advising local police not to disclose details about surveillance technology that they are using to sweep basic cell phone data from entire neighborhoods. Citing security reasons, the U.S. has intervened routine state public record cases and criminal trials about the use of this technology. And in any case, when they are getting information out about this, they're heavily redacted documents. One of the devices that's being used by local police is known as a stingray. And basically what this does is it allows for law enforcement to track cell phones used by suspects to gather evidence. It tricks cell phones into thinking that this device is a cell tower, and it routes your cell phone communication with the cell tower through this device, which then allows the police to view your text messages, your phone calls, all that kind of bullshit. Now, they're doing this without even, so this is a way that they're using to circumvent the need to ask Verizon or AT&T or one of these cell phone manufacturers or one of these cell phone carriers for the information. And it's making it so the police are now able, from in their squad cars, to basically run a sweep of a neighborhood and gather all this cell phone data, and it's putting all this data in there. That's how it works. And the Obama administration is trying to withhold information about about this new device. There's a lot of, according to Nathan Wessler of the American Civil Liberties Union, these extreme security efforts are in retaliation to a very controversial local government surveillance practices using highly invasive technology. If public participation means anything, people should have the facts about what the government is doing to them. I agree with that statement. We should definitely have the facts on what this is, and we definitely should not allow them to use these kind of technologies for their local. I mean, what the hell do they need that for? This is just an example of the war on drugs stepping up and causing all kinds of bullshit to us. According, Harris Corp is a key manufacturer of this equipment, and they have a secrecy element in their agreement with the FCC about this, which makes the law enforcement coordinate with the FBI about the use of the equipment here. The Stingray device alone, which is that device that mimics the cell tower and causes the cell phones to route all the communication through it into the squad cars, is 1/3 of the total revenue of the company alone. They $5 billion in revenue. It's 1/3 of that. So most of the revenue this company is getting is from the sale of this Stingray. Local police agencies are denying access to records about the equipment under state public records. San Diego, Chicago, Oakland County in Michigan all have this device. The Oakland County, Michigan officials are saying that they don't have to tell us anything about the device because of attorney-client privilege is what they're claiming to keep us from knowing about them having this device. Ginger McCall, director of the Electronic Privacy Information Center, says it's troubling to think that the FBI can just trump the state's open record laws. These vast amount of information sweeps is totally irrelevant to the investigation. So, like she's saying, these are just vast information sweeps in which they're taking a whole lot of information. And so basically the Stingray device here, it forces cell phones to register their location and identifying information with this device, and enables officers to track calls whenever the phone is on. So whenever the phone's on, you're susceptible to the police officers using this device on your phone. And in Sarasota, Florida, the U.S. Marshals, actually there was a public record, they were trying to get public record about this device, and the U.S. Marshals came in and confiscated the records and remove it, so it made them remove it from the Florida's open record laws after the ACLU tried to get at these records. And apparently the marshals deputized the officer as a federal agent to make the records ungainable with Florida law. So that's just an example of how the federal government, they're doing this. So watch your phones. I really advise people to use encryption software on their phones as much as possible. You should be encrypting your text messages, encrypting your data being used. You can get a virtual private network, a VPN, and have all your data network route through the VPN, so that way it's all encrypted coming out of your end and going into your phone. So that way when they're coming in to do these, when they're doing these record sweeps, they're not able to see, they're seeing these encrypted communications. They're not seeing what you're actually doing. And it doesn't matter if you have nothing to hide. I know a lot of people like to say, oh, I have nothing to hide. But it's still an invasion of your privacy no matter what way you look at it, even if you got nothing to hide. And believe me, when it comes to what your private communications are, they can make something out of nothing. So when you're driving around, when you're in your house, beware that the police are starting to get these devices and they are using them. Next, I'm going to cover a story about this. This was ridiculous. The Department of Justice's Operation Choke Point. Apparently, this operation that the Department of Justice are involved in is causing porn stars' bank accounts to be closed. The story, despite being in good financial standing, adult film producers and others in the porn industries' bank accounts are being abruptly terminated. The Department of Justice may have something to do with it. Under Operation Choke Point, the DOJ are going after legal but subjectively undesirable business ventures by pressuring banks to terminate their bank accounts or refuse their business. Basically, what the DOJ is doing is coercing private businessmen in an attempt to engineer the marketplace. They're infiltrating these banks, and well, not infiltrating. They're going to these banks and they're sending them with floods of subpoenas, civil investigation demands, and other burdensome and costly legal demands, which is causing them to basically close down these bank accounts of so-called undesirable business ventures like those in the porn industry. Last week, or this was not last week, this would be a few weeks ago now. This article's a little bit older. Adult film actress Tegan Presley and an unknown number of others in the porn industry received notices from Chase Bank that their bank accounts were being abruptly terminated. Porn star Leighton Brenton tweeted on Facebook that they closed her bank account to a number of other people in the industry. When Tegan Presley asked the bank account why they had closed the bank account, they said it was because it was considered high risk. Apparently there's a lot of government incentives trying to go after the unbanked or so-called underbanked people, and this is causing a lot more people to go into the unbanked and under the banked. But this is definitely just a direct assault on voluntary association of free market here. According to Senator David Vitter, that the DOJ has no statutory authority to be doing this. This is a really good example of why we need to be moving over to cryptocurrency. The state cannot get away with shit like this when we're in cryptocurrency. We're not in the bank. I mean, if you're going to hold U.S. dollars, keep them in cash. But your best bet is to be in cryptocurrency and other things that are unable to be seized by the government, and have your bank accounts terminated and have that kind of stuff. When you're over there, you know, now you're reliant, when you're on the bank account, you know, you're relying on that bank account to do your transactions. And to have that bank account terminated, it kind of takes the rug out from under you. And that's not a good thing to have done to you. So definitely we need to go over to as much cryptocurrency. And I'm happy to see that a lot of the people in the porn industry are finally starting to adopt a lot of cryptocurrency in their payment schedules and offer their subscription fees and all that stuff for cryptocurrency. Although the best way to get porn is free, but but anyway, the cryptocurrency is definitely something that these porn actresses and porn companies need to be going into. Anyone in the so-called how did they word it? The not necessarily illegal business, going after the legal but subjectively undesirable businesses. So when you're in the legal but subjectively undesirable businesses, which they list includes payday lenders, ammunition sales, dating servants, or dating services, purveyors of drug paraphernalia, and online gambling sites, definitely go over to cryptocurrency. Stop using their dollars. Definitely go over into the cryptocurrency. Let's see here. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have already heard about this. I know a lot of people have been talking about this, but the well, I don't know if they've been talking about this story exactly, but the state of Virginia is going after Uber and Lyft. Basically, the ride-sharing services, Uber and Lyft, that are trying to create a new way to transport yourself without having to rely on the taxi services. Earlier in the year, Virginia officials slapped the app-based services with more than $35,000 in civil penalties for operating without the permits. So they've been going after these for a while, and the Virginia, the Commissioner of the Department of Motor Vehicles has sent cease and desist letters out to Uber and Lyft saying that they cannot continue to operate in the Commonwealth of Virginia. According to Lyft spokeswoman Chelsea Wilson, she said, "We've reviewed the state transportation codes and believe we are following the applicable rules. We'll continue normal operations as we work to make policy changes." So that is good to hear, that even though the state has sent them their cease and desist letters, they are going to continue business as usual. That is great news. That is amazing that this company is sticking up for themselves and saying, no, we're not going to be bullied by you. We're not going to let you use your laws and policies against us to try and say we're doing something illegal here. They're sticking up for themselves, and they're fighting back. Basically, the state doesn't like these because the taxi cab companies and limo companies have had a pretty good monopoly on the transportation issue granted to them by the state. And now with these Uber and Lyft companies coming in, it's kind of breaking up the ride-for-hire model that these governments have created here, with these monopoly companies basically having 100% of the possible business. Of course, the taxi cab industries are not happy about these companies, Lyft and Uber. They do not like the competition. But fuck them. If they're that terrible that they're having to worry about a cell phone app putting them out of business, then they deserve to be out of business. These companies, Uber and Lyft, are providing a valuable service to people, and they said they're going to continue providing that. They have the copy of the cease and desist letters that were sent to both companies. Apparently, it basically reads that for over 4 months on the Lyft case and for over 6 months for Uber, they've been alerted and told that they can't continue to operate in Virginia, and so they sent the cease and desist letters citing a couple of regulations saying that they're breaking the law. But Uber and Lyft are going to keep on keeping on. They've been fighting these everywhere they go. The governments keep going after these companies, saying no, they don't want them because of the taxi cab industries. The taxi cab industries really want to keep their monopoly. Well, it appears we've run out of time for today. Well, thank you for watching. This has been Freedom Underground with James Weeks II on the Voluntary Virtues Network. I'll see you guys next week.